the Madman! Welcome to the top custom Hearthstone cards of the week. Today, we start off with not just a pyramid, but a pyramid. 6 mana 5/5 Shaman Legendary. Battle Cry, transform your totems into 0/5 Desert Obelisk. And you know this meme card, Desert Obelisk. It's the, if you control 3 of these at the end of your turn, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. Design 4 stars, balance 4 stars. It looks insane upgrading your totems, which are valued at about, 0 to 1 mana, into 5 mana cards, but a Desert Obelisk is not really a 5 mana card. And it seems insane that all you have to do is have 3 totems in play and then summon Pyramid, or have 2 totems in play and then press the button and then summon Pyramid. But it's actually pretty hard to have 2 totems in play. Ultimately though, my main problem with the design of this one is it does limit a lot of design space. You can never really print a card that summons multiple totems if Pyramid is in the game, and if that's the decision that Blizzard wants to hard make, then okay. But if not, then it is quite easy to get a Desert Obelisk OTK going. It has that kind of design problem as well, where, getting all these Desert Obelisks together is supposed to be a grand feat. It's not supposed to be as easy as just getting a bunch of totems in play and then pushing the button and then playing Pyramid. I'm a little bit torn, but 6 mana 4/4 might be fair if it was decided that this card didn't infringe on design space, and if it was tested and it wasn't that consistent, because it does have the problem of if people just lose to Pyramid all the time and it's like a 1 card win, people will complain. There's a design competition going on right now in the custom Hearthstone Reddit. It's called the Battle Royale, and the next 4 cards are all cards from that. Totem Bear, 4 mana 2/4 Shaman card, has Rush if you control a totem, +2 attack of 2, Wind Fury of 3. I'm gonna give design 5 stars, balance 3 stars. I think it is very interesting to have a card scale on how good it is depending on how many totems you have. The card is pretty underpowered because if you think about how hard it is to have totems stick, is a 4 mana 2/4 Rush good? No. Is a 4 mana 4/4 Rush good? It's not that good. So a card that isn't that good if you have 2 totems out is not going to be very good. Is a 4 mana 4/4 Rush with Wind Fury good? And surprisingly, that's not that insane when you compare it with the Warrior Mummy. So I think it can just be powered up by a full mana. 3 mana 2/4. And then I think the card is pretty interesting and would be a good inclusion to a set that cared about totems. This next card was designed with the requirement that it is a epic hunter card that supports pirates. Now that is a tough card to design a card around because hunters and pirates have very little to do with each other. Captain's Flintlock, 3 mana 2/3 hunter weapon. After your hero attacks a minion, your pirates attack it too. Sadly, design 1 star, balance 4 stars. Very difficult design requirement. A hunter card that has to do with pirates. I guess I have to credit the team for designing a card that at least has some flavor as a hunter pointing a weapon at something and then all the pirates attack it at the same time. But, pirate hunter? Ultimately, the card doesn't really give that much synergy for pirates. It's not a big pool to run pirates in your deck. It kind of gives your pirates Rush, but only specifically at that minion. It kind of gives your pirates Wind Fury. They can attack something and then you can attack, but still So the balance is there just mainly as a 3 mana 2/3 weapon is kind of okay. And really the ability on this weapon is very, very minor. So, still too weak, even though the base 3 mana 2/3 is fine as a weapon. So rough topic to have to design a card on. Do you think you can design a hunter card that supports pirates? Let's see your creation. Icaron. So it's a rogue, 3 mana 3/3 elemental. Legendary. Battle Cry, if you played Icaron last turn, draw 3 cards. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. It does play well to the rogue theme of bouncing the card back to their hand. They have in standard right now Waggle Pick and Shadow Step that can do that. I wondered if it was too overpowered. But if you set up a turn with Icaron Shadow Step, the first time you play Icaron, it's like you spent 3 mana for nothing. And then next, you did have to use a Shadow Step for the bounce back of Icaron, which means you're down a card already. So all in all, 4 mana, 3/3, draw 2 cards, if you combine it with Shadow Step. The turn after you do that is where it gets pretty insane, because with your draws, you might draw another Shadow Step, or Waggle Pick effect might be able to take off then. You return it back, and then for really 1 mana, you draw 3 cards. So really it's the third time you play Icaron, which is particularly really good. Given that rogues have an insane card draw spell already, and given that there's currently no value rogue that's in play, or a bounce rogue, this card could be potentially fair given the right situation. Another way you can activate this Icaron is you don't have to Shadow Step it, you can copy it and put more copies in your deck, like Togwaggle scheme. And I think that's pretty interesting. It's kind of like a Pogo Hopper deck. Unlike a Pogo Hopper deck, Icaron continues to fuel itself, but Icaron is only a 3/3. So I think it is a very interesting legendary that could be a brand new deck. Massive Blubber Fin. 3 mana, 4/6 Murloc. Doesn't complete its attack until your next turn. Design 4 stars, balance 4 stars. I think that that's a really interesting mechanic, but it's worded oddly enough that you wouldn't necessarily know for sure whether or not you could attack every turn, or whether you could attack every other turn. Because if it completes its attack on the next turn, can you actually attack the next turn? And I wasn't able to find any information about that. There could be a better way to word it. It could complete its attack at the end of your opponent's turn. Then it would be very clear that it attacks every turn. It's an interesting design because it is a twist on Frozen Crusher, which is useless every other turn. This card is just slow in attacking, which means your opponent can use the minion that Blubber Fin targeted and send it off at something else, and Blubber Fin just fizzles its attack then. Whiffs. I think it's a really cool mechanic, and I could see this on a card someday. Balance is a 4 because I think it is too powerful. You can just send it repeatedly at the face and deal 4 damage every turn. By the way, if you kill the Blubber Fin before it finishes its attack, it also doesn't get its attack off. Anyways, still too powerful, so Blubber Fin probably should be a 4/5. Aggressive Bargaining. A rogue 2 mana spell. Discover a card from your opponent's class. If you have a weapon equipped, take all 3. 4-star design, 3-star balance. Really interesting design. I like the flavor of it. If you've got that weapon in your hand, then the bargaining goes better for you. There is a major problem with this card though. If you play the rogue quest on turn 1, and then you weapon on turn 2, and then you aggressive bargaining on turn 3, and then you play, just something, a 1 mana card that takes another class card, then you're done with the quest. That's ridiculously fast. To have it alongside Clever Disguise is just too over the top, and because the author of this card did not mention that this card should be printed after the quest rotates out or after Clever Disguise rotates out, I have to dock a point on design for just complete overflow of the theft mechanic in a particular era. The balance is also too powerful. 2 mana, acquire 3 cards from your opponent's class. That's a bit too much. So if this card wants to be kept as is, it could be, if you have a weapon equipped, discover 2 cards. I think the flavor is still good there because with a weapon equipped, you're getting a much better deal. Dino Taming. 6 mana hunter spell, summon a Stegodon, adapted twice. And of course the Stegodon is your lovable 2/6 for 4. Design 4 stars. Balance 5 stars. This card is rated assuming it's in the Ungoro era, because Adapt is an Ungoro mechanic. If I were to consider this with Zul'jin, it would be a bit over the top, because the Singleton Hunter would just run the Dino Taming, and Zul'jin would get yet another value card, making Zul'jin even more powerful. Always have to watch out for a spell that is simply summon a minion. So the design's a 4 because ultimately this is just Volcanosaur with taunt. Nothing really earth-shattering in the design here. But to some extent, the flavor is quite good of a hunter taming a Stegodon and then improving it by training it. So that's the reason why I gave the design as high as it is, even though it's not very inspired. Leo Rocks is a hunter legendary, 7 mana 4/7, Battlecry and Death Rattle. Give a random beast in your hand an animal companion blessing, which is one of Huffer's Blessing. Give a random beast in your hand +4/+2 in charge. Leok's Blessing. Give a random beast in your hand +2/+4 and your other minions have +1 attack. Or Misha's Blessing. Give a random beast in your hand +4/+4 in taunt. I'm going to assume that the author did not intend for this to be a discover. You can't actually discover on the Death Rattle anyway, so it's a random effect. Design, 2 stars. Balance, 3 stars. The card to compare this with would be Don Honcho. So if you average out these blessings to be worth roughly +4/+4, Leo Rocks is giving an extra +3/+3 than Don Honcho. And sure, you can afford to do that because Don Honcho isn't that powerful, but +4/+4 more is a little bit too much. But perhaps what's more egregious is that it's not just an average of +4/+4. Now, whenever you play Animal Companion, often you're hoping not to get Leok. Certainly with this Animal Companion Blessing, you are especially hoping not to get Leok's Blessing. What you really want is Huffer's Blessing. Not only do you get the base stats of the beast in your hand, you also get the +4 and charge. And that is really, really insane, and it's why the design is flawed. Huffer's Blessing on any card is ludicrously strong. So the design is just flawed in that Huffer's Blessing is so much stronger than the other two. The card itself, though, can't be printed even with a nerf to the mana cost because there's an inherent design problem that you can get Huffer's Blessing with it. Maybe if Huffer's Blessing gave Random Beast +4/+2 in Rush, maybe it would be a salvageable card. But then you lose a bit of the flavor, admittedly. Then we have Backup Axe, a warrior 2 mana spell. Give your weapon Death Rattle, refresh your hero's attack, and equip a 2/2 axe. This is gonna be a very rare star rating from me. Design 5 stars, balance 1 star. It's the type of card where the design is extremely good, but it looks terrible because the balance is so off. It's horrifically weak, where if you have a weapon equipped, you're able to play this card, which will give you a 2/2 axe, and you can immediately attack with your axe after you've attacked with your weapon, presumably after you've attacked with the last charge of your weapon. That is really specific of an instance. So this card can be pushed so much harder, and it can be pushed in a really interesting direction. How about this? 1 mana, give your weapon Death Rattle, refresh your hero's attack, and equip a 3/2 Fiery War Axe. And then people can be like, oh my god, it's a 1 mana Fiery War Axe. But it's because the requirements are so steep. You have to have a weapon equipped. You pretty much have to play this card immediately following the last charge of your weapon, because that's when refreshing your hero's attack is relevant. But I really like the idea of warriors carrying a backup Fiery War Axe in their pocket that they can just bust out as their other weapon is about to run out of durability. And time for the trump card of the week. It's Lord of the Scourge, 8 mana, 8/8 legendary. Battlecry, give all enemy minions reborn. After a minion is reborn, take control of it. Wow, design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. This really captures the spirit of the Lich King. It also really captures the idea of reborn very well, with a very heavy drawback and a very heavy benefit. Giving all enemy minions reborn is a pretty serious drawback, but getting control of the minion after it's been reborn is a pretty big upside. By the way, the text only applies while Lord of the Scourge is in play, so if Lord of the Scourge is removed, then the enemy minions which have reborn don't become on your side when they die. So you'd have to play Lord of the Scourge in a deck which you had some amount of board control on, and then you play the Scourge, you give the enemy minions reborn, then you use your minions to trade with their minions. It's kind of specific, and given that it's already 8 mana, it's tough to combine with just spells. This is one of those flashy legendaries with a big effect, but because the mana is appropriately placed high out of ridiculous combos, like if this were priced low, then you could follow it up with Flame Strike or something like that, and it would be OP. But because it's placed high, and because it's placed in such a mana cost, and it evokes the Lich King stats with 8 mana 8/8 with a very different set of effects, like, that is a very cool designed card. I'd say one of my favorite big effect legendaries that I've seen on Custom Hearthstone Reddit, so really good job.